by my school. And in fact, they are hosted by my student, not me. Right? So every year we have a group of students who run the show for them. Right? We let them use our place for free of charge, and at the same time, I send a team of students to give them the logistic support. They're very happy. Everything is free. Right? All they need to do is to give my student a chance to go to Netherlands every year. Right, free of charge. So like the barter trade, right? So that's interesting. At the same time, you see, my students learn by organizing a international event without any cost, because we don't pay anything, right? If they make mistakes, it's their business, not my business. Right? But my students learn, right? My students learn how to provide the logistic support. At the same time, they gain the opportunity to go to The Hague to attend the actual UN model conference. So that's how we work. That's how we learn, right? So borderless learning, right? The concept of borderless learning requires a lot of partners. I mentioned about the Beijing State Art Campus. We have a Xi'an Winter Campus, and we also have collaboration with AOS. This is Academy of Science in Virginia. And we have many overseas community involvement programs. CIP stands for Community Involvement Program. Every year we have about 50 groups of people going overseas. 50. Every group is about 20 people. It's about 1,000 students going to different parts of the world. They go to Cambodia, they go to Nepal, they go to the Laos, and they do community work. Frankly speaking, every time during school holidays, when these people are away in different parts of the world, my heartbeat goes very fast, because anything can happen. Especially they are going to the third world country, things can change. For example, there was a year, my students are in Nepal, and there was the election in Nepal. Luckily, my students are all in the jungle, so it's okay, they are safe. Right? So things like this happen, so every year we send a large group of people. We believe they can learn a lot of things outside our physical campus in Singapore. Right? So besides all these overseas programs, we also have a virtual campus where they learn things from the virtual world, from internet. So we have lots of resources in the internet for them to learn. This is another way that we bring in people, right? So bring in people to help to enhance learning. Every year for the last 7 years, we bring in Nobel scientists to our school. Right? We started off with 3 Nobel scientists, and now this year, in fact next week they are coming. There will be 6 Nobel scientists stationed in my school for 1 week. Right? And they spend the 1 week interacting with my students, right? Conducting master classes, dialogue with educators. We open this opportunity to about 20 other schools in different parts of the world. I think there are 2 schools in Thailand actually come to my school for this program. But we can only accommodate about 2 students per school, right? That's it. They learn a lot from the Nobel scientists, and most importantly, they are inspired by them. Young people need inspiration, they need role model. So when all these scientists come, they say, well, when I was young, this is what I do, and so on. They listen, and they interact with them. And that's how they can learn. So students in Hwa Chong do not just learn from their teachers. We cannot afford to just say, oh, students just learn from us. No, what we know is so limited, so they must learn from the whole world. Right? So this is one example. Partnership. How do we do it? Why we can do? How come we have so many partners from different parts of the world supporting Hwa Chong? How come I have so many friends? Okay, so this is my model. Okay, there are 2 dimensions. One is stakeholders dimension. The other non-stakeholder. Stakeholders, very simple. We are 95 years, so we have a big network of alumni, and all our alumni love Hwa Chong very much. Okay, whenever I ask them to come back, they will come back. They will do whatever I ask them to do. So, for example, if I want the Chief of Defense Force to come and talk to my students who are likely to become Army officer, I ask them, come have lunch with my students. Right? He'll be very happy to come and have lunch with my students. Right? So here, this group of people who love my school very much, these are the stakeholders, alumni, parents, right? They come in, we invite them as partners, we tell them what are the things they can do. They can conduct career talks, they can help us to conduct workshops, they can just come and have lunch with the students or dinner with the students, or there are some specific things that they can do, or they donate money. Right? It doesn't matter to me. Right? So then we have we decide the kind of collaboration projects, we review, and most importantly, we constantly, every few years, we give some kind of appreciation. We must recognize their service. So it becomes a very healthy cycle. So we don't just depend on stakeholders. We don't just depend on alumni. Even non-stakeholder, we welcome them. My school is very, very popular in the sense that there are a lot of visitors. Every week, I have 2 groups of visitors, sometimes 3 groups of visitors. When they come here, they look at what we have, they will say, hey, can we collaborate? Can we work together? I'll say, hey, why not? Let's try small things first. Let's do a small little joint project. And from there, again, we work together. Right? So sometimes from a small program, it can grow up to be a big program. So after so many years, we have many, many friends. We have about 100 over partners from 4 continents. That's how it functions. Okay? Let me go to organization support. I hope you're not bored yet. Okay? Organization support, there are 2 parts, professional support and technical support. These are the 2 main parts. And if you refer to the school excellence model, it accounts for resources and administrative and operation resource. Right? These 2 are very important. If you want to do well, we cannot just depend on teachers. We must have good resources. We must have good people to manage those resources. Right? So let me give you an example. This is, okay, facility-wise, I think a lot of schools would love to have my school. Okay, so this is a beautiful school. Right? Lots of facilities. We have even research center. Right? We have 1 whole building just for research. It's not science practical lesson. It's for research. Individual students, if they want to do a research in a certain field, they can actually work with us. We have full-time scientists to guide them to do research. This is we have auditorium. We have easily 5 to 6 auditorium of this size. So we invite lots of speakers to come and talk to students. So those are the things that they can. And I meet them every month. Every month I have to meet all my students level by level. And they are the one who decide the topic of discussion, not me. Right? But before I came last Wednesday and last Thursday, my students say they want to talk about smart school. They want to know what are the things that we can do. So they are the one who bring out how come the school is not doing this, how come the school is not doing that. So I have to explain to them. So I have to say, hey, we have to discuss with teachers and so on. So we involve our students in policy making. So all these facilities are important. Without facilities, we can't. So sports facilities, we are very particular of sports because sports is very important in character development. When they fight for excellence, if you want them to train to be people with high determination, sports is very, very important way of doing it. So we have lots of sports facility. You can see this is a gymnasium, one whole building on gymnastics. Right? But having resources is not enough. Even if you do not have resources, I think you can still develop your students. But you must know who are the support staff. Right? We have about 120 support staff. They can be technicians, they can be people who are cleaning the facilities. These are very important people to us. And we have lots of expectation. These are the few areas. We have people in the human resource, admin, finance, IT, and so on. Admin people actually provide very strong support to the teachers. For example, I talk about immersion. Teachers do not have to worry about all the logistic support for the immersion. Buying air tickets, buses, or whatever, all these logistics will be handled by the admin people. Right? The teachers only accompany students there. That's it, look after them. Their only duty is to look after them, make sure that they behave themselves, make sure their welfare is taken care of. The rest are taken care of by the admin. So the support from the admin staff, the support staffs are very, very important. Let me share with you some of the expectations. When we talk about IT infrastructure, for example, we look at the reliability index. How often does the internet break down? Right? It must be above 99% all the time. Right? So this year, 99.93%. So that means there's a 0.07% time downtime. When it's downtime, it's a serious problem for my school because nobody can work. Right? No internet, no working. Somehow you find that they're so dependent on the internet. It may not be a good thing. So I have to tell my teachers, yes, it's good that you make use of resources from the internet, but it does not mean that without internet you become paralyzed. No. So they must learn how to survive. Right? But to the technician, I will tell them, I want 100%. Okay. So that's it. So we managed to get 99.93, not too bad. Okay. So for percentage of requests for IT services, right, within 24 hours. Let's say if there's a computer breakdown, right, they must attend to it within 24 hours. So 99% of the time is possible. It can be done. So that is kind of service quality that we expect from our service staff. How satisfied are the teachers? So to my support staff, teachers are the internal customer. Right? If the teachers are happy with their service, that means they are successful. Okay, so they're the internal, we call it internal customer. So here is every year we also conduct survey like this. The support staff are helpful, the support staff are effective in addressing my problem, the support staff are knowledgeable in their job. So it's almost 99 to 100% all the time. Right? So it's not easy to have this group of support staff. With good support staff, teachers are they take a lot of work away from teachers. If the teachers have to do all the administrative work, they will have no time for professional work. This is something that we learn over time. Not many schools can achieve this. In many schools in Singapore, many government schools could not achieve this. Right? So in fact, our ministry is learning from us how we do it. Right? So I told them, well, you have to train your support staff. Right? They must be happy serving the teachers. Right? This is very important. And on the other hand, the teachers must also respect them. You must also appreciate them. So it's this two-way. You cannot say, I'm teacher, you are support staff, I expect you to do and look down upon you. No. So I think servant leadership applies here. Right? So while I serve you, you respect me too. That's very important to us. Okay, let me pause for a while. I need a drink. Yeah. Okay, as I said, with good quality teachers, with good support from our partners, with good support from our executive staff, our admin staff, we will have good programs. Let me explain to you what I mean by good programs. In Singapore, most government schools will be able to do well in these two areas. Academic studies, usually exam matters, exam curriculum. Curriculum comes with examination. And CCA stands for core curricular activities, sports, uniform groups, it can be arts, and so on. So they have two dimensions. As long as they do well in the exam, as well as they do well in some of the activities, they are considered good school. Okay, but my school, as an independent school, because I charge higher fees, therefore I must deliver more. Right? Otherwise, parents will go after me. Right? I pay you more, how come I don't get more? I cannot. Right? So therefore, I have to have values added. So these are the values added. Right? So we tell our parents, we will help our students to be more independent. We help our students to be able to speak well, to articulate their thought, and we expect our students to develop in their leadership. And we want our students to learn to serve the community, and their immersion programs for them to understand other people's culture. So these are the list of things that they will acquire through 6 years in my school. Let me just give you some example. Okay, so independent study. Independent study, we have a research-based curriculum. I mentioned to you, these are the special program. We have science research program, we have art elective, we have language elective, we have bicultural study. Bicultural here refers to East and West, right? The American culture and Chinese culture, and we have humanities research. So those people who want to be leaders in government, these are the two programs they go into. If they want to be leaders in research, they will go to science research program. So very, very targeted, and here we have specialists in the programs to help them. Right? So if you want to have quality programs, we need to invest in our people. Students-wise, independent studies, every student is required to do one independent, one projects. They can do in groups of 4 or 3, or they can do alone if they want to. Right? We have about 500 projects every year. Right? So these are the range of projects they can do. Those people who like to do science research, they do experimental research, where they collect data from the lab, they process it, and they present their paper. Those who like social science research, they do on non-experimental research category, and so on. There are many, many other categories, right? About 11 of them. These are the results that we have seen for the past 8-9 years. In terms of total number of projects, I'm not too particular about as long as about 500, so I will know roughly almost every student is involved, right? But I'm more interested in the quality of the projects. You can see more and more students getting distinction, A or A star, right? So this is a very, very encouraging trend. So that means students are able to tackle problems. So this is a proxy for me to measure whether our students are ready for problem solving, right? So whatever projects they do, they basically identify something of their passion. They want to solve a particular problem, for example, and they have to design a way to solve that problem. They have to think of the plan, they have to work out the process, they have to implement it, and they have to deliver it. And they have to explain to people why they fail, why they succeed, and so on, right? So this is the project competition in the junior high school. Students who get A star, that means the distinction, high distinction, they can go out and compete with some other schools, right? Or go to international competition. These are some of the people who have done very well. This group especially went to an international level. They obtained a world championship title. Oral communication is also something very important. If you ask me 20 years ago, I can tell you straight away one of the area for improvement is oral communication. My students are very, very smart. When they come to examination, they can answer all kinds of questions. But when you ask them to articulate their thought, they are unable to. Right? They are very typical Asian. They don't like to speak. Right? Right? So for the past 10 years, we've been working very hard on it. So we want them to say, hey, if you are smart, if you don't open your mouth, nobody knows you're smart. Right? So you must learn to tell people how smart you are. Right? So oral communication is something that we have been trying to promote. Right? So we have, every year we give them a grade. This grade has 3 components. Right? First component is oral participation. That means in every class, right, our teachers will have to tell me who are those people ask a lot of questions. If you ask a lot of questions, you score high under oral participation. So teachers, every subject teacher will have to tell us. Right? At the same time, there are 2 debates. Every student must take part in 2 debates, one in Chinese, one in English. It's a bilingual school. Right? So 30% for English debate, 30% for Chinese debate. So every year, every student, imagine the number, it's a lot of work. Right? And you'll find that in the past 5 years, there is a very positive trend. When they come in secondary 1, there's grade 7, many of them are unable to speak. When they leave at the end of Sec 4, about 70% of them are able to speak very, very confidently. Right? So there are 2 more years in the senior highs for them to practice further. Okay. Community service, I think I don't have to talk about it because I think it's quite common. I suppose people in Thailand also do. But the only thing is Singapore is so small. We can't have community service in Singapore alone. So that's why we send our students away to different parts of the world to do community service. Right? Now, this is something very, very important to us because every year they must do at least about 10 hours at least. And by the time they come to senior high school, the average number of community service hours is about 100 hours. Right? By the time they come to senior high school, we do not require them to do anymore. We say, if you enjoy doing it, you continue to do. But when they are young, you have to make it compulsory. Because when they're young, only when you make it compulsory, they'll do. Right? So this is the time they learn. So they do 10 hours, 20 hours, slowly they accumulate. With the moment they find meaning in doing it, by the time they come to senior high school, they will run their own show. They will tell you, I want to do this, I want to do that. This is something that, these are the support I need. At the end of the day, they'll tell you what they have done. Right? This is, we have a lot of sense of achievement over here. Right? Community service, something very, very important to us. I mentioned about this, about the bicultural leaders, where they go to China and where they go to the US. So these are the 2 very important programs. Right? In fact, when we work with the West, we don't just work with 1 or 2 schools, we work with university as well. Right? We work with Stanford. We send people for their summer program, and recently I'm in touch with Johns Hopkins. So we are talking about sending students to their Hong Kong summer program. Johns Hopkins has a Hong Kong summer program. It's nearer to us. It's very expensive to send students to the US, too expensive. So sending to Hong Kong is cheaper. The same program, right? Their professor will come to Hong Kong to conduct courses, right? Things like this. These are the immersion that we can have. So they interact with people from the international community. Very important for them to learn to appreciate other people's culture. It's also very important for them to respect other people's culture. This is something that we want our students to acquire. In the process of doing it, by sending people to different parts of the world for immersion, for community work, we also test their cultural intelligence. CQ here stands for cultural intelligence. We develop an in-house assessment. Now I don't use it anymore. We actually track them before they go and after they go, whether their cultural intelligence has gone up or not. So now we work with David Livermore from US. I think he has a very established assessment. So we are going through another big-scale research in this. So before our students go out, we will talk about the characteristics of cultural intelligence, what we mean by cultural intelligence, how to be culturally intelligent, and we expect them to put it into practice when they are overseas. When they come back, we'll test them again. So the pre and post test, we will see whether they actually learn anything from there, right? So everything we do, we try to collect data to see whether we are done well or not, right? It doesn't matter. It does not mean that every time we do something, we must be successful. Not necessary. Right? Sometimes we fail. But when we fail, we need to know why we fail, right? So, and how to improve it. We also have an entrepreneurship program, right? This is something very important to me because I think we do not want our students to work very hard and eventually just work for people. Some of them must learn to create wealth for Singapore. Right? If everybody come back to become civil servant, to become policy maker, to help other people to manage wealth, but who is going to create wealth? Somebody must do it. Right? So therefore, I invite my alumni who are very successful entrepreneurs. Some of them were very young. I have about 7 or 8 entrepreneurs who are just 30 plus years old. They are already earning much more than many of us. Right? So they come back. They spend time talking to our students. They conduct workshops to help our students to understand what is entrepreneurship. Right? They talk about values of entrepreneur. They talk about success story. They talk about story that fail, business venture that fail, why fail. They invite their friends who are businessmen to come and talk about it. So this is a very, very important program. I have students who, having gone through the program, come and tell me, now I know exam result is not important, not that important. Right? There are so many different ways to define success. In the past, to them, your test is 90 marks. I have 91 marks. I'm better than you. Now they know whether it's 90 or 91, it makes no difference. Right? Yeah. So the definition of success becomes so different after talking to all these entrepreneurs. Then the entrepreneurs can tell them, you define success. You tell yourself what you mean by success by setting your own goal. And you set your own goal, you work for it, and you move towards your goal. So your success is defined by yourself. This is something that I like very much. Right? So we know in time to come, this world is so uncertain. Right? So therefore, I think our students must be ready for the uncertain world. So they should be the one who define their success. Let me talk about, this is our last one, I think, student outcome. Right? What are the student outcome? Last year, 726 students, right? It's about 2/3 of my cohort get 3 H2 distinctions in the GCE A-level exam. What does it mean? This means we have about 2/3 of our students, 700 of them, qualified for top university like Oxford, Cambridge, and so on. So these are the very best students, right? And we have very best in Singapore, the President's Scholar Award. This guy came from a very humble family. His mother earned only about $1,000, considered very poor in Singapore. And he emerged the best in Singapore. Right? So he was given the President's Scholarship. This lady here is the Angus Ross Prize winner. Right? Angostura is the top literature students outside UK, world best outside UK, right? And many other awards. So these are the things that we have done. Every year we have all these success stories. And from 2006 until now, we accumulated 41 World Championship titles. Right? So these are some of the students who have done very well, not just in academic area, right? But also in problem solving. This one is on future problem solving. This is choir. This is dance. Right? So in different area. Why do I encourage our students to go for World Championship title? It's a matter of confidence, because Singapore is small, right? It's very easy to be the best in Singapore, right? Because we are so small, right? But I have to tell our students, if you really want to create wealth for Singapore, you cannot be the best in Singapore alone. Not enough. You must be the best in the world, right? If you are not the best, at least you are second best, right? So therefore, we encourage them to go for international competition and tell yourself you can be the best. And true enough, the last 10 years, in less than 10 years, 40 over World Championship title. In fact, there was 1 year, I just told my friend, 3 out of 4 team members of our International Biology Olympiad members are from my school. All 3 of them have gold medal. Right? Very unusual to have an International Olympiad medal from the same school. Right? So that's, we are very proud of them. At the end of the day, achieving result is not the only thing we look at. We also look at how happy our students are. They can be the best, results are the best, and yet they are unhappy. They don't come to school, they don't like me, no good, no use, right? So we have something called QSE, Quality of Schools Experience, Quality of School Experience. Junior college is the final year, okay? So overall, you can see, this is ours, right, as compared to the average Singapore schools. So we are way above, significantly above all other schools in Singapore, especially on affiliation. They are very proud of the school, and they feel the ownership. They want to come back to contribute. So you can see almost 90% of the people say they are very proud of school. Very happy people. Right? They work very hard. They have fun too. This is very important to me. So in summary, today I've just talked about 2 models. One is a success model, right? We call it a success model. There's a Hwa Chong success model, and also the school excellence model, right? So these 2 models contribute to a happy school in Singapore. We celebrated 95th anniversary last year. We have a big concert. This is unusual. You know, every year I have to attend about 7 or 8 concerts, because I have 6 orchestra in my schools. Right? And 2 choir groups. So each of them work independently, so they have their own concert. So I have to attend every one. Sometimes I'm not free, I could ask my deputy to attend. So I told them, 95th anniversary, I want to have a challenge. I want all of you to work together to give me one big concert, one grand concert. 300 of them must work together. They say, not possible. How can you mix Western music with Chinese music? They have different score. Chinese music, they come in numbers, right? So whereas Western music, they have funny score, right? So I don't know music. So I say, I don't care, right? So I want you to work together. So all of them come together. Initially they say, okay, each orchestra will play for 10 minutes. 6 orchestra will have 120 minutes. They're trying to entertain me now, right? So then they discuss further. I say, okay, good. At least, you know, you are willing to work together, right? So after 1 month of discussion, they found an alumni, an old boy, who actually can understand both Chinese music and Western music. So he put our string orchestra, Chinese orchestra, the brass, and so on all together, and they actually used music to tell the story of Hwa Chong. Beautifully done. It's in front of a clock tower. This is a clock tower. The clock tower is the national monument. So they perform in front of the whole field. So the whole field, a few thousand people came back and watched the show. So it shows that nothing is impossible. I just want my student to learn one message from this exercise. Nothing is impossible. If you will set out to do, as long as you work together as a team, you can achieve it. This is something important to me. Right? Moving forwards, we also tell ourselves which are the things that we have done well. Right? These are the wow factors. Anyone who come to my school listening to all the stories, they'll say, wow, these are the good programs. Right? So we know we have a lot of good programs. But it's also important for us to know what is our area for improvement. Right? Area improvement is, this cycle is not enough. There's one more dimension that we want to add to it, that is knowledge management. Knowledge management is increasingly becoming more and more important. So we add one more dimension to this success model, and this is the new success model. Right? So under new success model, we are in the midst of improving it. We depend a lot on internet for teaching and learning. These are the things that we already have. Right? We have Moodles, Wiki, EMB. EMB stands for Electronic Message Board. Right? Very useful message board. These are common to everybody, and anyone have access to YouTube and so on, iTunes and so on. Right? And we are going to develop something more. Right? We want to have our own version of TED. We want to have our own version of Open Lecture. We want to have our own version of e-library, so that all the experience, all the knowledge can be grouped together, and new teachers who join us will have access to all these resources. Right? This is something that we are working on it. Right? So I hope this is the last one. So that's the story of Chong. Not sure whether it's useful to you, but I hope it gives you something to bring back to think about. Okay? Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Dr. Hon. Now we're entering into the second part of the not the presentation, the session. So would you like to give them maybe 2 minutes to stretch, get up and stretch?
Sure. You decide, you're the boss.
Oh no, I'm not. เดี๋ยวลุกขึ้นทำความรู้จักกับคนข้างๆนะเผื่อเราไม่รู้จักกันนะฮะสัก2 นาทีแล้วก็หมุนเนาะนะเพราะว่าเดี๋ยวเราจะมีการปรับเปลี่ยนเวทีกันสักนิดหนึ่งนะครับนะฮะก็พูดคุยกันได้นะฮะจนกว่าผมจะบอกให้หยุดเนาะ นะครับขอเวลา2 นาทีนะฮะในการจัดเวทีใหม่แล้วเดี๋ยวอย่าลืมนะครับเตรียมคำถามที่อยากจะถามดร.ฮอนเอาไว้ได้นะฮะแล้วก็เรามีไมโครโฟนอยู่2 ตัวนะครับถามเป็นภาษาไทยก็ได้ผมแปลเป็นภาษาอังกฤษให้หรือจะเขียนมาเป็นภาษาไทยก็ได้บนเวทีเดี๋ยวผมแปลเป็นภาษาอังกฤษให้ได้นะครับปิดเครื่องนี้เลยเอานี้ปิดกันเลยให้ไม่เห็นนะ
อันนี้เหรอไม่ขึ้นว่ะอาจารย์มันยังไม่ขึ้น
พร้อมนะครับฮะจริงๆแล้วเนี่ยที่ว่างข้างล่างยังมีเยอะแยะเลยนะครับถ้ายังไงลงมาข้างล่างได้นะฮะหรือว่าพอใจตรงนั้นแล้วพอลุกแล้วหนาว นะฮะOkay, Dr. Hon, let's begin our second part of the session, which is the part that you like the most, which is Q&A. Okay?
Not ready.
You're ready. Do we have any questions from the audience at this point? Yes, please. May you come down?
Let's be as informal as possible.
Yes.
If I can't answer you, Pia Bong answer.
Hi, my name is Jessica Chongpunut Tepsidinatia. My question is that you have 380 teachers for 4,000 students.
Yep.
How can you teach so many students if there's only that many teachers? And how can all the students get proper education with only that little staff?
Okay. If you work, you do your calculation, 4,000 students for 380 staff, about 400. So it's about 1 teachers to about 11 students. To me, that's a very good ratio. Right? In Singapore, most government schools, the ratio is about 1 to 15 to 1 teachers to about 15 students. So 1 student to about 11 students is already a very, very good ratio. So that means our class size is about 25 to 30. As compared to US, I think maybe it is a little bit too many, because in US, in some parts of Europe, it's about 20. But to us, it is okay. 25 to about 30 is optimum size. If you compare to some of the Asian country, if you go to, for example, China, the class size is about 50. If you go to Malaysia, some of the Chinese independent school, the class size can go up to about 60. So in fact, that kind of school, you can only have teacher-centered teaching. Right? Whereas the class size of 30 or the ratio of 1:11, that's optimal. Of course, the best is we lower the ratio, right? Let's say 1 teacher to 5 students, that kind of thing, or you follow Oxford, Cambridge, 1 student, 1 teacher to 2 students. It may be the best, but it's not sustainable because you need a lot of human resource. You need to pump in a lot of resources to get things done. So we cannot afford to have that kind of ratio. Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
Good beginning for the question. Yes, next please. Do you have another question?
Yes, please, the gentleman.
Yes. Yes, please.
So, firstly, I would like to thank that you shared a good experience to us.
Thank you.
So my question is regarding about Singapore Quality Award. As you mentioned, that to get this prize, need to require to do the assess in several areas. So in your opinion, which area is the most challenge for you to get the score?
Social means corporate social responsibility. Are you referring to that?
The Singapore Quality Award.
Yes.
So you require that several point is the 1,000 point.
Yes.
And several area required to be the asset.
Yes.
Do the assessments. So which area, in your opinion, is the most challenge to get the point?
Staff management.
Staff management.
Most difficult. Because first you must bring in the best teachers. To attract the best teachers is not easy because Singapore is very small, very few teachers, very few qualified teachers. Right? Among the qualified teachers, I need to bring the best to come in. Really not easy. Right? That's my biggest challenge. But the good thing is, every year I have about 1,100 graduates. So I encourage my students to become teachers. So when they become teachers, it's easier for me to invite them back. They don't just come back for money. They come back because they feel for the school. They love the school. That's why they come back. Right? Teachers in my schools, they are not paid a lot more compared to government school. I only managed to pay them a little bit more because the funding, my funding comes from the government. So I can't afford to pay them a lot more. Just pay a little bit more. So teachers who come to my school, they don't come for money. They come here because the students are good. They feel good teaching the students. So I have to tell my students, you must respect your teachers. I would not tolerate any student who are rude to my teachers. I told my student directly, it's very easy for me to find students. If you misbehave, I ask you to go. There are a lot of people who will queue up to come in. But if my teachers leave, I can't find good teachers to join. Not easy to find. Yeah, that's my biggest challenge.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Actually, that is my second question related to the first question that you mentioned. So, it's as you mentioned, the teacher is the one of the most important. So, what is your strategic plan to encourage the people or to get the attractives to the people to be the teacher?
Okay, before any teacher join us, they have to go through interview. My school is an independent school, so I can choose my students, my teachers. So at the point of interview, I tell them very directly, you come here, you're going to have a lot more work as compared to government school. Because government school, they only need to look after 2 areas, right? Examination subject and CCA, that's it. Very easy, good life. But you come to this school, you have to do a lot more. And I only pay you a little bit more, right? So the question here is, do you like the kind of challenge? Right? Many teachers who are very ambitious, they want to learn a lot more, they would want to come. Right? So they come here not because they want more money, not because they want a good life, but they want challenges. So I make it very clear to them. And usually when the applicants are our alumni, very much easier. Now they are the ones who say, yes, I want to give back to the society, I want to give back to the school. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Can I have more questions?
Sure.
Okay, thank you.
Actually, you can do like for the whole hour.
Whole hour.
Why not?
That would make my job a lot easier.
Yeah,
So-
I think
so
the
two
two of
more
us go for
question.
coffee and that's it.
Thank you. Only 2 more questions. The rest I will ask you when we go to Singapore.
Okay.
Yes. This is my student, the one we were talking about.
I saw your presentation regarding about your strategic alliance. I didn't see any dot in Thailand. So, do you have any plan to set up the strategic alliance in Thailand? And what is the criteria that you select to be your strategic alliance?
We have friends in Thailand. I wouldn't use the word strategic because strategic means they are really important to us in our development, right? So without them, we will lose one arm, one leg, that kind of thing. Yeah. So it will take time because partnership need mutual respect, mutual understanding, confidence. So we usually work on small projects. We have a couple of schools who come to my school every year to attend the Nobel scientist master classes. Right? We are beginning to work with another school. The last time I came in November, after the talk, one principal came to me and said, hey, let's collaborate. I said, yes, why not? So my staff is talking to her. Right? So of course, people would like to work with us. We are very happy to explore. We always like to start small. Right? Don't think big because the moment you think big, it's very difficult to get started. Yeah.
So that means free to send the application, right?
We are open. We are open.
Thank you very much.
We must learn from one another, right? So one of our core value is win-win. Whatever we do, we must make sure that we win and the other party also win. If we are winning all the time, I don't think anyone want to work with us. Right? This is very simple. Right?
Okay, my last questions. So I understand that you have a lot of information about Thai education systems. So suppose you are appointed at the Thai principal in Thailand. So which is the first priority area you want to look up and improving?
To be frank, I'm not very sure about Thailand's education. Right? But in the last forum that I attended, I noticed that language seems to be something that I think you should focus on. Right? So in the last symposium, though it's conducted in English, I think many principals who attended that session were unable to express their view in English. So to me, if you asked me 20 years ago, I don't think it's a big problem. But today, it is a big problem because most of the research is done in English. Most of the research papers are written in English. If you do not understand English, it will not be easy for you to learn. It's not easy for you to progress. So especially our young people, I think English is very, very important. It's a tool to learn more and to progress. So maybe if Thailand want to progress, you can consider this particular area. Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. I hope I'm right. I'm not sure. Yeah.
Thank you very much for your questions. Next, please. Come on, we have close to 400 people in here. There must be at least one more question. Yes, Sina. He's an exchange student from Cambodia.
Oh, okay.
Receiving a scholarship.
Yes.
Yes.
And good evening. And I'm really interested in the sentence that you said. If you cannot the best, you can be the second best.
It's important, really. Third
Yes.
best, no use, really.
Yes.
You don't get any market share anymore.
So and you talk a lot and you show me the good way to be the servant leadership. So and I just want to know that did you experience with the budget in your school? If you lack of money, so what did you do? Thank you.
Do you have any problems with budgeting at your school?
Budgeting. As
And
I said,
if so, what do you do?
my government is very fair. Whatever the government spend on government school student, they give it to us. So that's not enough for me. All right, so I could to charge more higher fees from the students. So students pay about 10 times the fees of government school.
10 times.
10 times, more than 10 times. The government school students, they pay about $20 per month. My student pay 250 to 300 students per month. But it doesn't matter because if students are poor, the government will pay for them. Yeah, that's how supportive our government is on education. So they look after students who can't afford to pay. So, but my fees must be approved by ministry. I cannot just charge anything I like. So at the moment it's $250 to $300, depending